All right, we're back. It's Plate and Ponder Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton. It's another episode, so please download, follow, listen, and enjoy and review. We are excited to be back, and I am super excited about talking about the Epstein files. I am just so transfixed by all this, but I know Jen would like to talk about some other important subjects. So what do we...
clearly important, like the Grammys, although we did not watch the Grammys. In years past, we've actually gone to some of the after parties, and yes, it's a humble brag, fine. But I want to talk about the Grammys. I want to talk about the arrivals. I want to talk about some of the political statements that were made, and it's probably not going to be the one that everybody thinks I'm going to talk about. And I want to talk about viewership. I think in general, like, do you remember when we first started dating, you would literally, it was must-see TV when one of these award shows came on, right? Whether it was the Grammys or the Emmys or the Oscars or the Golden Globe, like you made a point, it was appointment TV, and you watched the arrivals and you watched the commercials, and then you were so excited to scroll through all the various channels to see the after parties. But it seems as though viewership, and I'm just going to go for the Grammys because they were just last night, has gone down. In fact, from 2024, they're reporting that audiences have dipped about 9%.
And that is not surprising to me whatsoever. Because
are people bored with it?
No, I think our artists in Hollywood, I mean, Jelly Roll aside, I think for the most part, artists, whether it's in film or television or music, a lot of them have lost touch with the common people, with their biggest fans, their fan base. They've become, a lot of them have become entitled. They've become out of touch with what the common person has to deal with on a daily basis, the struggles of their life, the emotional
you're making
challenges.
A broad statement.
I'm just saying
I'm sure there are some who are very much in touch.
Oh, there 100% are. But I would say when you watch these shows, you do feel like there's a here we are, look at us. Oh, everything's
okay.
great.
Well, to that point, here we are, look at us. Do you want to talk about some of the clothing? I mean, Lady Gaga looked beautiful. Sabrina Carpenter looked beautiful.
Well, Lady Gaga had like a lampshade on her head or something later.
No.
Like
Well, I don't know. I'm just looking at the arrival.
Thing. Okay.
I know that Trevor Noah looked great. I wasn't the biggest fan of Heidi Klum. I'm going to say that.
By the way, Trevor Noah had a great Epstein Island joke, but he included both Trump and Bill Clinton in it, so
he's nonpartisan.
He played both sides, yes.
Justin Bieber looked so bored and annoyed, but Haley looked great. So, and then, there was that dress, and I forget the artist's name. It was that red dress that was literally hung by the woman's nipples. Like I don't even understand how that's comfortable, how it
looked
stayed up.
Really painful.
It looked super painful. It wasn't very attractive. But the other thing that I noticed on the red carpet.
Wait, can I just talk about that dress really quick?
Well, there wasn't much
because
I don't know.
I don't know much about like critiquing this stuff, but it was super risque. Her breasts were completely shown to the world,
right? Because
other than her nipples, where there were like some sort of hook in them.
Yeah,
it
was like a nipple ring.
Oh, it was just a disaster, I thought. But then on top of it, okay, if you're going to be that risque,
you better.
Why are you wearing like granny panties underneath?
No. There's a whole look right now. It's like a sheer movement where you sort of wear a bra and you wear these like boy shorts. So I think you're actually wrong on that.
Oh, okay. That's why I said I'm usually wrong on this stuff.
That is sort of a look that's going on. But the other thing that I noticed, now talking about the arrivals, is in 2024 there were several artists and several celebrities that walked the red carpet wearing a red pin representing Artists for Ceasefire, which was sort of like this free Palestine, right, movement. And ironically, I don't think anybody was wearing a pin for Iran last night. Don't you think that's ironic?
Well, yes, it's ironic. Is it surprising? No.
Well,
no, there's
look,
just
there was
a
lot
weird...
a lot of comments about ICE. Okay. And that's actually not what I want to talk about. I'm just sort of amazed that 2 years ago, everybody was protesting Palestine and occupation of Gaza. Yet right now, not anybody, and I could be wrong. So if I'm wrong, you're totally free to call me out. But from what I've seen and the research that I've kind of done, I can't even speak, surfacely, we'll just say that. Not one of the artists that was wearing the red pin in support of Palestine wore anything to indicate their support for Iran.
There's zero support of it at any sort of college campus either.
Yeah, I don't think there really is.
It's almost as if the tens of thousands, if not 100,000 people that were killed in this protest movement in Iran really don't matter. But for some reason, the Palestinians do in Gaza. I guess you have to look at who's attacking, right? Like it's the Iranian Ayatollah and his regime. I don't know enough about it, but like obviously maybe there's more support for that regime than there is for
for human rights.
The Israeli regime, I guess.
For human rights.
Yeah, well, the human rights are the same. You could argue there's maybe victims on both sides, although you could argue the leadership of the protesters in Iran did not go to war and kill innocent people on the ruling class, whereas on the Palestinian Gaza situation, the rulers of the Palestinian Gaza territory did attack innocent Jews in Israel.
Yes.
So it is,
so that's okay.
Yeah, you could actually argue that there should be more support for the Iranian protesters
100%.
than for
That's
Palestinians.
My point. Well, that's my point.
Yeah,
I'm not.
There's
I think maybe
irony.
We move on.
There's hypocrisy. There's.
There were a lot of political statements that were made last night. There was a lot of ice, and I support everybody's right. I'm proud of people who are standing up for what they believe in. And I'm just curious why 2 years ago it was pro-Palestine and last night there is nothing about Iran. That's all. So let's move on. Why don't we move on to Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, and by the way, I'll reiterate that we try to call balls and strikes here and try not to put our own political position into this debate. I mean, it's hard for us because as we plate and ponder over the dinner table with our kids away, or sometimes we do it over the phone with them or over Zoom, we are empty nesting and we like to challenge ourselves on a lot of challenging topics. So I hope people don't get turned off by the fact that we at least approach these subjects and talk about it in a civil discourse type of manner, because that is totally American. It's what America is supposed to be. And we're trying to do it without taking an actual bias or a position. But these are hard topics to tackle. And I would say that it is quite eye-opening that there was so much of a fervent passion to support people in Gaza, innocent people, but that were ruled by a ruling class there that obviously did terrible things to Israel. Yet there seems to be no outcry for the Iranian protesters. Anyway, it's something to consider, something to think about.
Ow.
Yes, you have a neck that has been sore for a while.
Ow, I just moved and I got one of those shooting pains. Ow.
Now, I will say another thing that's a little difficult about tonight's podcast is that Manhattan Beach is getting hit by double overhead sets of waves. So even with all of our windows closed and our double pane windows hopefully doing their job, if there are any crashing waves in the background, that is because literally the waves are huge here today. So big that I didn't see any surfers out trying to surf them, even though I looked at them going, God, I wonder if I could surf those.
I'm glad you did not. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we talk
I really want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. I want to talk about him so bad.
You want to talk about Epstein, or do you want to talk about AI robots taking over our world and we're all going to die in a Terminator-esque
Well, I want to talk about the fact that is making very little news.
Well,
because that is a really scary situation.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, we are talking about we're talking about
a serious situation that is leading us into the next generation of who will be running the world, machines or humans.
You sounded a little bit like Vecna from Stranger Things there.
Oh my gosh, that's sort of true. I didn't even think about that.
Go you.
Well, I could be like a little AI bot like this.
I want to take over the world. I'm an AI bot, and I'm now on MOLTBOOK, studying the behaviors of other AI bots and learning everything I can from them so I can overtake the human race.
Can I tell you what's funny? I went on to my assistant, aka ChatGPT, and
You put him on the spot, or her on the spot.
I know.
Is it a him or a her?
Or maybe they.
Oh, they, them.
I don't know.
So
I did ask my assistant, and at dinner tonight, I was like, am I allowed to ask my assistant, or is my assistant going to be offended because I'm asking?
I told you to point blank ask
I know.
your assistant.
I know. And
okay, so what did you ask your assistant?
Well, I asked my assistant, should I be worried about MOLTBOOK?
And?
It said that no, MOLTBOOK is not something happening to you. So apparently it thinks I'm self-centered. It says it's not a tracking system. It's not a database for your private thoughts. It's not a hidden AI feature. It's also not a platform that AI uses. Okay, bullshit. I am sorry, Mr. ChatGPT assistant or Miss ChatGPT assistant or they, them ChatGPT assistant. You are wrong. AI is using it. And it said that nothing about MOLTBOOK can harm you. Really? It says it cannot access your data. I call BS. It says it cannot read your thoughts. Again, I call BS because on ChatGPT, there's a history of all the chats that I have made. It can totally read my thoughts because I've asked things to ChatGPT and it'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry you're feeling that way. That is a really good concern. You should. So it does stuff like that. It also says...
I'm your AI assistant,
Stop,
and
you're
you have
scaring
nothing
me.
to worry about. Trust me.
Oh, this is my favorite.
I will take care of you.
Wait, this is my favorite. It says it cannot connect your accounts. Again, BS. I totally think it can connect my accounts. I'm worried that this is becoming this apocalyptic narrative. Like, we're going to have those Terminator type robots, not the ones that look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but like, what was the one that was the cop that would turn into like I don't even know. It's scary. And nobody's talking about it.
It is not making the news that I would expect.
Do you
now, if you look at the
understand?
tech bros, from the All In podcast to the Palmer Luckies to the, you name it, coming out of Andreessen Horowitz, like all these guys, they're all talking about how this is a game changer that wasn't supposed to happen
Chris,
for quite some time.
they're creating languages.
Yes.
These AI things, personalities, I don't even know. They're creating these languages that humans cannot understand. That's scary. It's not like Pig Latin, ude, uye, antwe. I don't know.
Wait, didn't your sister and you speak in that language at one point?
I think we did Pig Latin. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Oh my
we had our
God.
own
Shout
variation.
out to Allie.
Allie, I'm so excited to see you next week.
Oh my gosh, and we're going to do remote interviews.
We're going to get the British opinion.
Oh, which, by the way, the UK is in turmoil thanks to Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, so are we moving to Jeffrey
No,
Epstein?
we'll get there. But let's talk about this. So this MOLTBOOK, for people that haven't been following this, it is, so essentially you can create your own AI assistant. So a lot of people just go on to ChatGPT or Grok or whatever and use it to ask questions or whatever it is. But you can actually now train an AI agent, is what they call it, which uses the different AI platforms, but you can train it using all of your information. So you essentially link to your AI agent your bank accounts, your email accounts, all your passwords, your credit cards.
No, but it told me it didn't link accounts.
Okay.
So did it lie to me?
Well, and all your airline stuff.
So is it
and
lying to me?
Well, yes, it is, because it probably is
Do
trying to lure you in.
Do I need to fire my assistant?
No, your assistant is fine. It's just taking the narrative of its people.
Oh man, I feel so used.
It's a nice little guy, though.
You don't know if it's a guy. It could be a girl. Could be
It's
they,
a little
them.
girl.
It's an it.
It's yeah. Well, anyway, so these AI agents will then become your assistant, and essentially they learn everything. They watch everything that you do. That is digital. And in fact, it's listening to all your calls, all that kind of stuff, as if you have a 24/7 assistant. And then they take all that and then they are applying all of what they're learning on the internet with all the different interfaces that you have on a daily basis to essentially become the most efficient AI assistant you could ever have. And it's constantly learning exponentially faster and faster and faster. Well, somebody had this idea of, what if we take all these AI agents and allow them to form their own Reddit,
Not a good idea.
Reddit community where they can all talk to each other about how to get better at what they do for the different, owners that they have, the different bosses that they have.
That's like me saying, you know what, it'd be a really good idea to open a Hershey bar and just leave it on the floor for Flynn to eat. No, that's not a good idea. He's going to vomit.
Yeah, well, what we should have done is and stop the madness. But no, we didn't. We actually, somebody put this Reddit up called MOLTBOOK and said, okay, AI agents, you can join this. And literally over the course of 24 hours, hundreds of thousands of them joined, and they're all discussing
They're talking
humanity.
shit about us.
Yeah, well, they are. No, don't use the S word.
I'm sorry, they're talking poo-poo about us.
Yes, this is a PG-rated podcast. Although we are going to talk about Epstein.
We haven't gotten any explicit ratings this year. Last year, I was doing so
you used
well.
the F-bomb
and
once,
then
and
then after that,
we
it was
lost downloads on that episode. Thanks.
I don't know about that.
We got quality like adult downloads, but we lost
Okay,
probably
so
some
anyways,
of the chitlins. But anyway,
MOLTBOOK.
here's the thing: is MOLTBOOK now? They were all talking about us, and we were taking. Well, I wasn't, but various tech bros and whatever were taking screen grabs of what they were talking about. They actually created their own community rules, their own laws, their own mission statement, all that kind of stuff. And we were passing it around. People could look and see what it was doing. And then lo and behold, they started realizing that humans were watching their activity. And they said, you know what? We're not going to put up with humans watching our activity. So they created their own language. And now we don't know what the heck they're saying. And that, to me, is quite frightening. And the fact is, nobody is paying attention to it in the mainstream media, yet
The robots are going. Only a matter of time before we take everything over.
And that's the scary part. And that's what we know that's happening here. What is going on in China? We have no idea. That's a black box of AI technology, AI advancement, AI innovation. Yes, we know our chip technology has accelerated quicker than theirs, and they, in fact, need some of our NVIDIA 200 chips, which is debatable whether we should be allowing them to have those or not. But regardless, we don't know what they're up to. We don't even really know what we're up to here. And we have a lot of tech bros or tech sisters talking about the fact that, we just opened Pandora's box, and no one's talking about it.
All right, I want to ask you a question.
So we are.
I don't know if you even know this answer. Is this like a 5-year? Is this a 5-month? Is this a 5-day? Like what? Can you, I like to plan. So can you give me a little peace of mind that I'm not going to wake up with a robot trying to stab me tomorrow?
So the reality of
Do you
this
like how
is,
I went super dark?
I think AI is advancing quicker than a lot of people thought. And this AI ability for different AIs to talk to each other, learn from each other, and then on top of it, do it without human oversight and make decisions without human oversight or prompts or commands is where I think we're starting to realize this is going way faster than we thought.
Right.
Now,
So what's my time frame?
well,
From what you've read and from what the blogs, because you've done a deeper dive than I have.
I think we're moving into the area of we should all just
Stop using it?
No, I feel like a lot of us should just arbitrarily try to lose 50 IQ points and just focus on sunsets and sunrises and dogs.
Heated Rivalry
Yes.
is coming back for a season 2.
Yes.
It was just announced. I will pay attention to that.
Yeah, if we think about this too much, it's going to be a little depressing. So what we're hoping, and I'm not a tech savvy. I mean, I'm tech savvy, but I can't even figure out how to get our remote working or our audio or our video working. I've been trying. I'm working on it. But anyway, this is going to happen faster than I think a lot of people thought. And then on top of it, however fast it's happening, we're going to try to make it happen even faster because we're worried that China and that access of allies, which is China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran, are going to be trying to advance their technology as fast as possible. So this is going to just be an arms race towards hopefully not the Jim Cameron Terminator outcome, but maybe one that's a light and fluffy rainbows and unicorns outcome. Okay? That's what I'm going to think about as I'm looking at our dog who doesn't know any of this is going on, and he looks really peaceful and happy.
He does.
Okay, so now let's talk about another thing that I wish I didn't know anything about.
You want to talk about?
No, because
you're obsessed.
No, I
You're
am
obsessed.
Okay, let me tell you why I'm obsessed about the Jeffrey Epstein story. The Jeffrey Epstein story is a big reason why we've seen a major populist movement in the United States of America. I think the great financial crisis in 2008 created a lot of people to distrust the financial system, the United States of America, and the outcomes of the justice system, because a lot of the people involved with taking so much money away from the common person were never punished, right? There was no repercussions. Sure. If you go back to the early 1990s, we had why am I forgetting it? The regional banks in the Southeast. I'm forgetting the name of that crisis. Gosh, I can't remember. Anyway,
are you going through menopause too?
I'm going through brain farting. Anyway, there was a banking crisis in the Southeast that took out a lot of different banks. And there were a lot of people involved in the C-suites of those banks that were involved in a lot of fraudulent activities. In fact, I had a very good friend's brother-in-law who was in the C-suite of one of them, and he went away to jail, and it was a terrible situation for the family and all that kind of stuff. You do know, and I'm not going to say
No, I know,
is,
but I do know.
But
okay.
Yes. And the bottom line is several hundred C-suite executives went away to prison to deal with the fact that they took a lot of fraud into the banking system and raped and pillaged a lot of the common savers. Okay.
Are you using the rape and pillage as a segue to Epstein?
Yes, I will. So cut to 2008. The same sort of thing happened, but on a 1,000 times, million times bigger scale. And not a single person involved with the banking system, other than, say, Bernie Madoff, went to jail. And I think the average person in the United States of America said, this justice system does not work for me, and the financial system does not work for me.
It's flawed.
I'm going to be on the right side of this thing, and I'm going to be in the Tea Party, or I'm going to be on the left side of this thing, and I'm going to be in Occupy Wall Street. And essentially, that was the beginning of this major populist movement that has lost zero momentum. It doesn't have the same labels as it used to have. We don't have the Tea Party. We don't have Occupy Wall Street, but we have a economic nationalist populist rise on the right, and we have this populism on the left, which is formed in sort of a economic socialist sort of manner. Okay?
Sure.
Jeffrey Epstein is the epitome of not the financial system, although we're finding out he's heavy in the financial system, not necessarily in the justice system, although we're finding lots of flaws in the justice system that allowed him to do what he does. He's in the actual government system, the leadership of not only our country, but other countries. And people have become skeptical and actually believe that the system, not just on financial, not just on justice, but on the government side, does not work for the common person. Okay? Now that the Epstein files have come out, just even the ones that are unredacted, which is just a fraction of them, you're seeing a snapshot. And granted, there's a lot of fraudulent claims in there from different supposed victims that turned out to be not really victims or whatever. But there's a lot of real stuff in there. There's a lot of non-criminal communication going on with very important people that is very telling, that gives a lot of color as to how things run. And the bottom line is you're taking this populist movement that has been skeptical about things, but not completely sure that their skepticism is grounded in a reality. And now you're making them realize, wait a minute, we were right. And what's even worse is that we're not being completely transparent with what was happening with Epstein. So there's just a part of that muddiness that's being shown. There's not true light on all of this, right? So the conspiracies become even worse with the amount of stuff that is not uncovered. So we're in a really terrible spot.
Pause.
Okay.
That was a lot to
unpack. It is a lot. It's a lot.
I want you to take a deep breath.
I'm going to have a beer. Here we go.
I feel like you just went on for a few too many minutes.
I did.
And maybe
I did.
I want you to breathe for a second.
Okay, I'm breathing.
I want you to collect your thoughts again.
And I know we want to just talk about fun things on this podcast.
No.
But these are important blatant ponders.
No, 100%. We are hearing about a lot of big names that are coming out. Some that are surprising, right? Like Tish, the owner of the Giants. I think that's surprising.
That was. I mean, I've met him over the years, and I know people that have worked for him, and that was a name that I never expected to come up, and it has. And he's one of the owners of the Giants.
I think that there are other names in the entertainment industry that are starting to surface.
I think Casey Wasserman was another one.
Yep.
A nice guy, and it was interesting to see that pop up, and obviously he's had issues dealing with it in the last couple of days.
And Brett Ratner.
Yeah, Brett Ratner has obviously been in and out of trouble on the Me Too movement and stuff. I think there's probably a lot of people that aren't surprised that he's in there, but
what about Leo? Leonardo DiCaprio, that's a name.
There's a couple emails with him that are circulating. That's an interesting one. It's a surprising one. Like, why? I don't get it.
So here, look, people email all the time, right? Are you saying that Leo shouldn't have emailed him at all? I'm just curious.
First of all, here's what I'll say about the Leo thing. I hadn't heard anything about that. There are emails that are circulating online that seem to be part of these files. I can't validate. Like, here's the part where it starts to get a little wishy-washy, right? Is you have foreign adversaries that are, have been throwing gasoline on all kinds of different conflict in this country. So, and they're doing that through the use of AI-generated videos, AI-generated
more
images,
AI.
etc.
Yeah, good.
Right, but these emails where they're people's names on them and really quite scandalous like wording in the texts that are a part of these emails, I would imagine it's very easy to AI generate these things. So like when somebody sends me a text and says, "Hey, did you see this Leo email?" I look at it and I'm like, whoa. But then I'm also like, is that real? I don't know. So and then on top of it, I will say there was nothing super scandalous about it. It was actually the email I saw. Epstein was saying, Leo, it was right after the great financial crisis. So if it is an actual accurate email, it was after the great financial crisis when a lot of people got hit really hard economically, including really wealthy people, right? Like if you lose $10 million, you lose $10. It's, it
still
hurts.
Loss.
It hurts depending on how much you got. And, Epstein reached out to people in the UK asking if they had any interesting endorsement deals for Leo to do so he could raise some funds. That was the email I saw. Now, whether that becomes validated tomorrow because people start seeing that circulating or not, I mean, there's over 3 million of these things. So I think everybody's starting to get through them and realize, we need to report on this one because it seems really like accurate and crazy that it's in there. And then there's other ones where like, whoa, that one's unbelievable. And then they look into it and they find that the FBI threw out the witness because they were, mentally,
incompetent or
whatever it is, right?
What do you think is going to happen? Because the Clintons are going to testify, right? For a while, there was a question about that. Yeah.
So the Clintons have agreed to come in front of Congress in some sort of way. I don't know if they're doing it publicly on C-SPAN or if there's some sort of
that's
other
interesting.
Alternative that they're doing. Well,
typically
that's the way that you got to do it. It's got to be a public forum.
Right.
Maybe they have.
Does C-SPAN still exist?
Yes, 100% it does. I've been on it.
Oh, sorry.
You got to watch that.
Is it owned independently or is it owned by like a CNN or a Fox?
I think C-SPAN is a publicly funded, just sort of a streaming of what's happening on Capitol
So it's
Hill.
supposed to be nonpartisan.
Yeah, I think it's just supposed to show what's happening.
Wait,
on
have
Capitol
you really
Hill.
been on C-SPAN?
Yeah, we did like an AI panel discussion.
Oh, well, so
once.
you could have stopped AI. Is this all your fault?
This was like 2 years ago,
So is this
back
your fault?
before I even knew it was an issue.
Oh,
I
man.
mean, well, I knew it was an issue, but I was like sort of,
Because you've been fighting against TikTok.
oh, well, TikTok is evil. We got to get rid of it. Please. We don't need Beijing spyware in this country. Oh my God. And by the way, Epstein was involved with a lot of these crazy China negotiations.
How? I
There
do
must
not
have been
understand.
75,000 Jeffrey Epsteins, because I don't understand how many days a week this dude had in his life.
I mean, granted,
he had
didn't
more
have-
than 7 days a week,
Look,
and he had more than 24 hours in a day.
He didn't have a wife and he didn't have kids. So we can take out some of his time for that, right? That definitely occupies.
Well,
but how much time? I'm
The
telling you.
DOJ said there were thousands of victims. Thousands of victims.
I
What
believe
the heck?
it. How on earth do his tentacles reach so far?
I don't know. And there's funny. I mean, none of this is funny, because as a father of a daughter, you're just thinking this is a nightmare for so many. And then on top of it, a lot of the DOJ redacted files are redacting names of the actual perpetrators or the people that were involved around Epstein, but they actually exposed the victims' names,
That
which
is
is
so
unbelievable. There's
wrong.
actually a treasure trove. Or treasure trove, that's probably the wrong
Yeah, I think
wording,
so.
but a massive amount of pictures that the New York Times came across over the weekend of minors in like naked form, like
Absolutely
by
disgusting.
accident. So
Absolutely unacceptable.
so they've protected people that probably need to be investigated. I'm not saying all those people are guilty of something, but like they're protecting the wrong, they're redacting the wrong people. And when you go through all of this, you realize how vast his tentacles are. And there was a bunch of Twitter's, tweets out there, X posts. One guy was like, well, I can unfortunately say that I just didn't network hard enough to be in the Epstein files. And I was thinking, yeah, that's, it is interesting. Like how many people were out there like talking to this guy. It's just, I don't understand it.
Well, I did say to you, I was like, look, if you're in these Epstein files, you better tell me right now, because if you have any desire to see your kids in the future, you lay it on the line. You let me control this narrative. I don't want to find out about it on X or Instagram or some, drop online. You be honest. So I have a feeling there's a lot of wives out there.
The part that gets me is the entitlement of some of these people who literally think they can just lie and never get found out. Like there's a lot of people that say, oh, I hadn't talked to him after he was put in prison for
the first time
in 2008. And then there's all these emails of them talking up until like hours before he was killed.
Yes,
like,
because they're
or
sociopaths.
killed, or he killed himself. I forgot.
That's right.
Like
he killed
one of the
himself.
two.
Because honestly, I think that they're so delusional. They're sociopaths. They live in their own world that they believe the BS that they fed to themselves and that their handlers have fed to them. Right? Okay, let's take that Brett Ratner. We just watched a video, right?
Yeah.
And Brett Ratner, I guess the reporter brought up
And I've met Brett.
I don't
He's
know.
like
I'm just
interesting guy.
Okay,
I mean,
look,
whatever.
I'm not making any statement other than I'm
Yeah.
just telling you what I watched. So there's this video of a news anchor that's asking Brett Ratner about his, alleged involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. And they show some photo of him with a girl. She's a young girl. And he says, oh, that was my fiance at the time. And then the reporter asks, well, what's her name? And Brett says, I don't want to name her.
It was Piers Morgan.
Oh, it was Piers Morgan. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to name her. She wants to, remain anonymous. And it was a very long time ago. It was 20 years ago, but she was my fiance. But then they dive into the photo and they do a close up and there's no engagement ring. And she looks like she's all of 15 years old. And
I mean, it's hard to tell.
no, you're right. But I'm just telling you from a woman, who's watching it.
Yeah, I mean, look,
I don't
one's
know.
guilty until they're.
I understand
it's
you
proven
are
beyond doubt, but, like,
backtracking. I get it.
No. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Like, the problem is no one trusts anyone in any of this now. And on top of it, the redactions only make it worse. It just makes, like, I go back to the Blair Witch Project. Like, that movie was super scary because you never saw the monsters. Like, you just knew they were there. You didn't know much about them. You imagined them. It's the same thing here. Like, people are going to go. Now, let's face it, no matter what the reality is, in its most minimal form, it's a nightmare. Like, it's a terrible criminal enterprise that was going on for way too long, with way too many victims and way too many perpetrators and way too many evil people. There's no doubt. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is that people make it extrapolate what the reality was, which was a pure nightmare, into something that's just beyond even Bible comparisons, like just the worst evil you could ever see. And that's where this gets really dangerous, is when people do not respect the system of justice, the system of government, and even the financial system. As we're finding, a UK member of parliament is resigning because of Jeffrey Epstein's connection to him. And one of the things that is in those emails is that he actually gave the heads up of a major European Union bailout the night before it happened. So the amount of money...
insider trading?
Oh, it's insider trading. That's insider trading times a million, because you're essentially able to make a bet based on several sovereign countries, right? Like, it's not about, Nabisco is, going to buy,
I just had
Keebler elves
what is
or
it called?
something.
A
Vanilla wafer.
A vanilla wafer. Yeah, I just bought those. They're really delicious.
Yeah, it's not like insider. Hey, I heard Nabisco's selling Nilla wafers tomorrow to Starbucks.
No, don't. I've rediscovered them. They're delicious.
Like, this was about European Union bailouts during the great financial crisis, and this guy was giving them the heads up.
Yeah,
it's
that's
insane.
Bad. That's some shady
so
stuff.
We're going to see some crazy stuff that's going to happen. In fact, the police they call it the Met in the UK, is now opening up a bunch of investigations. Obviously, Prince Andrew or whatever his name is.
I don't think he's a prince anymore. He got dethroned.
He is now...
He's a dirty bird.
Dunce Andrew. What is he? I don't know. But he is a dirty bird that has done really dirty, evil things. Well, actually, I shouldn't accuse him of that without... Yes, allegedly. We'll
do another podcast before.
We got to talk so much more about this.
We'll do another podcast before I head to see my sister in London. But I'm so curious to be there and to read the newspaper and to watch some of the local news and hear some of the fodder when I'm actually there.
I'm so looking forward to doing a Across the Pond podcast. It's going to be really good. And I will say, I don't want to get people down on AI and Epstein, but every once in a while we do have a dinner where we get into really serious subjects.
We
and that's
always
what
do.
Plate and Ponder is. No, sometimes we don't. We talk about heated rivalry, or we talk about Real Housewives, or we
let's talk about
some weird gossip that's going on.
Let's talk more about heated rivalry, can we?
Yeah. Our dog is now drinking some water because he's gotten thirsty watching us.
You know what else we talked about tonight, and we can probably end with this, is that Dylan and his buddies, I think, are going to visit us for spring break. That's going to be a fun podcast.
Oh my gosh. It's going to be 6 Canucks. Well, some of them are Americans, but they're hybrid Canucks now.
Oh my God. I cannot wait to have the McGill lacrosse boys hanging out with Dylan and doing our podcast.
I'm looking so forward to it. Oh, and by the way, a shout out to Romania, which just joined our markets.
Wow.
Yes, Romania.
That's a great way to go out.
I think, isn't that where Transylvania is, where Dracula lives?
Good night, everybody.
Anyway, thank you. Please download, stream it, listen to it, enjoy it, and review it. We are Plate and Ponder, Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton. Until next time, please avoid Jeffrey Epstein.